Hi patrons, welcome back. Thank you for joining me again, and thank you so much for all your support. You've been so kind, you really have. I hope you're all doing very well, and I hope you're all learning lots of new techniques, and I suppose, if anything, just getting some encouragement to try it. Just grabbing your stuff and trying it. Just try different things. I love encouraging people just to try. Even if they don't learn very much from a particular tutorial, at least I'm giving you that bit of kind of, you know, get up and go. Just try it. You've nothing to lose, only a little touch of paint and a piece of canvas. Come on, let's go. Before we start this tutorial, I want to show you something actually that I came across. You might be able to enlighten me. You might know a little bit about it. If anybody out there knows about these types of things, let me show you. I got a box from a friend. I don't know where he acquired it, but it's a very, very old teak box. He doesn't know what it contained, but all that was in it was this little piece of equipment. I don't know what it's for. I had a look online, and the maker is, as you can see here, W.F. Stanley. I think it was instruments, various types of instruments, and what caught my attention about this was the date. Now look at the date on this. 1914. Isn't that amazing? So it was repaired and adjusted by W.F. Stanley and Co. in London in 1914. That's 105, am I correct? 105 years old. Isn't that just amazing that this box is now sitting on my desk in some pokey little art studio in Cork City. I think that's just fascinating. I love this type of stuff, all this old type of stuff, because it's so old. I mean, this probably tells so many stories. But he asked me, did I want it? He said, look, I came across an old box recently, if you want this. So he showed me the box, and I said, there, sure, look, I can use it for brushes or paints or something. I'll make some good use of it. But isn't that just fascinating now that this is 105 years old, and here it sits on top of my desk, and I'll probably have this for another 40 odd years. It's a pity this stuff wasn't in it, the instruments, whatever was in it, some kind of measuring device. I think he engineered surveying tools and surveying equipment, kind of leveling stuff, that kind of thing. I think that's what it was. But isn't that just amazing? I find that very, very fascinating. 1914 from London, and it's made its way all the way across here over all the years, and here it is on my desk. Isn't that just brilliant? I think that's fantastic. Anyway, look, I just wanted to show you that, and I'm getting ready for my tutorial, and I'm going to paint a lovely, let me just turn the camera here now one moment. I'm going to paint a lovely, we're going to work with yellows, so a lovely kind of a yellowy sunset on a lake with a little boat, a man in a boat out in the lake, and the sun is really reflecting some yellows down, and there's going to be some lovely silhouettes of some trees coming in on one side. It's going to be gorgeous. So I'm going to work with some yellows this time, alright? Just a nice limited palette. Alright, let's have a go, let's have a bit of fun with this and see what we can achieve. Yes? Sound good? Alright, get your brushes and let's go and have a bit of fun with this. Thank you so much again, and don't go anywhere. Alright, here we go. Look at this photograph on the screen. Isn't that gorgeous? Very misty kind of a scene with a little bit of sun up in the sky. Some nice little reflections here and there. It really caught my eye. So I thought, as a study, this would make a lovely little study, wouldn't it? Now, have I a frame ready? I think, yeah, I have a frame ready now, so we can check this on a frame when we're finished. Alright, I have a 16 by 10 canvas, and my colours are, now I'm just checking now, are the colours okay on this camera, just making sure everything is okay before I go ahead. I have titanium white, Naples yellow, cadmium yellow, I think that's cadmium yellow pale, yeah, cadmium yellow pale hue. I have some burnt umber, burnt sienna, cadmium red and black. That's what we have. I drew a quick horizon line just across there. Just a very quick horizon line. And let's start. I was going to use the big brush, but I'm thinking for this one, I might switch to something a little smaller. You could use your medium stubby brush. I have the equivalent of the medium stubby brush here. It's the very same size. It's just a long handle, that's all. I don't have one to hand at the moment. It's over there. There's actually paint on all my brushes because I was giving lessons yesterday evening in my centre, the local centre, and when we're finished, everyone just throws their brushes into a kind of a bowl, and the paint is still on them. I was supposed to clean all my brushes last night when I got home, but I was just too tired. I left them there, and they're over here now on the table, and they're just covered in paint. So I don't have any clean brushes at the moment. It's just these couple I have with me here. So I'll have a good selection in that. Let's go for a nice medium, kind of a flat brush, a decent size. This is, God, I can't even see the size on the brush now. I think it's a size 6 or something like that, or an 8 flat. Let's go and have a bit of fun with this. We have a big spot of yellow in the centre here, don't we? I might start with that, and we're going to have a bit of fun now with the yellows in this. I'll dampen the brush very slightly, just very slightly, okay? Not too much. Let me just give it a good clean here now, because I seem to have a little bit of green on this brush, a tiny bit. Right, let's take some cadmium yellow, and let's take a touch of white. And we have a very rich white spot just over here, don't we? I might put that in. It's very luminous now, this colour. Cadmium yellow is a very luminous yellow, see? And then what I might do is, they're very kind of subtle tones, I find. So I'm going to start adding a little touch of Naples yellow into this, and a little tiny drop of thinners as well. And I'm going to go around that now. So I leave that now, and I'm going to paint. I'm thinking I might paint the rest of the sky in this colour, this kind of Naples yellow colour. So let's dampen the brush now and get plenty of paint out here. And perhaps a touch of white as well. And that Naples yellow now will make it very kind of soft and creamy. Real kind of a creamy colour. So let's have a look at this now. Look at that. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. So working with nice yellows today. Give you a bit of little bit of encouragement with the yellows, I think is nice for a change. And Naples yellow is a perfect colour now for this. I can see it even on the photograph. It's just exactly what I want. And you don't have to mix anything else with that, then it's just a lovely colour. I do get a lot of questions about Naples yellow. A lot of people saying, you know, I've never used Naples yellow before. It's not. I don't think it's a colour that most people will use. I would say the majority of artists will tend to go for the basic primary colours. So the cadmium yellows, the cadmium reds, sap greens, French ultramarine, those kinds of colours. But I've always used these alternatives. So rather than cadmium yellow, I might use Naples yellow or something. It's just personal preference, really. I think it's a fantastic colour. I really love it. Now I'm just going to come across. You could use a large brush for this now if you wanted to, but I just find it's a small canvas. I think this size of a brush will do me fine. And also I might like to keep some of the brush strokes on the canvas as well. I might not necessarily want to soften everything away out. See what I mean? I might leave some brush strokes there. Now let me just have a look at this now. Let's sit back and have a quick look. That's nice, isn't it? What a beautiful colour. And there's various colours now. I know there's a very bright spot right by the sun, but I'm just going to finish going around with this colour. Nice rich Naples yellow. I might take a dab of cadmium with that, just a slight tint of cadmium yellow in there. I'm not worried about down here now. We've all trees down here, so don't go crazy. You don't have to go all the way down to the corner. let's start working in some colours with this now. Right, I'm going to soften first. I'm going to soften this sun area very gently just around the edge of it. I want to leave that white spot, that really bright spot up there. I might even look, you know what? I might even soften it out slightly. And I can see we have some lovely bright colours around the sun, don't we? So I might just dry my brush on tissue and take some cadmium yellow with a touch of white. And there's a really rich kind of a colour right up there, isn't there? So I might just sort of flick it from the centre out, you see? I don't know now if you can see that on camera, if it translates on camera. But what I did was I just took some cadmium yellow with white and I sort of, from where the sun is, let's imagine the sun is here, I'm flicking some of it outwards like that. Just little lines. Just to give a little impression of the sun kind of bursting through some of the clouds. Does that make sense? You can probably see it there now a little better, look. You see what I mean? And I'm just being very free with this, very loose. I don't want to go absolutely crazy with this. And we have a very bright spot in the centre now, don't we? Let's take a smaller brush. I'll just get a small, slightly smaller little flat brush. And a dry brush, I'll take some white and a touch of cadmium yellow, just a touch. Tiniest little bit. Okay? Mostly white. And I'll go in here and I'll paint in that sun just in the centre there. I won't go crazy, it's only a small. It is really rich, isn't it? It's very, very whitey, yellowy colour. I do want to be able to see it when it's finished, you know what I mean? Now I'm going to take a soft brush, a very soft blender brush, and I'm going to just gently soften some of this out first before I go any further, okay? Just soften it gently here and there. And I'm going to then just go back over some of this. Maybe put a very rich dab of yellow just in the centre and soften it around. Okay? Now it's even whiter than that, I think, on the photograph. It's really whitey yellow, but it's difficult to get that bright colour. It just, because it's wet into wet, you see, it just doesn't sit properly. It kind of disappears. So I'll leave it like that just for now. We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it very soon. Right, I'm going to just start adding some subtle warmer tones over on this side. I might take a touch of crimson and I might take a touch of burnt umber, just a touch, and I want to bring some warmth into the painting. Now it's not on the photograph, but I think it might look nice if I just added a touch of warmth just on this side. I'm only just barely touching the canvas with this now. Gentle, gentle little brush strokes, okay? Even pick up a touch of the yellow if you want. I'm softening this now very softly together, look. Barely touching the canvas. Now, I might take a touch of mauve. That's what I might do actually. It's just something I can see and I really want to put it in. So I'm going to take a touch of cobalt blue, small touch, and with the same brush I'll take a small touch of cobalt blue with some cadmium red. Okay, I want to make a nice mauve, but it's more on the reddy side of mauve, do you understand? Maybe a touch of white, little touch. So this colour now is going to cool the sky very slightly. We'll have a very rich warm colour against a slightly cool colour. Let me just try this now. I'll maybe go here. I like that. Let me get a bit more. When I'm mixing this now, it's very small amounts of mixing which I'm doing. Very, very, very small amounts, okay? I'm not putting tons of paint on the canvas. It's actually quite dry, to be honest. It's very, very dry. So can you see now that lovely cool kind of colour up in the corner there, kind of creeping down into the painting? It's not, there's not very much blue in this. It's more of a reddy kind of a mauve. But it's still cooling down the colour. A touch more blue here now. I'm not putting too much into this, too much blue, because it'll only go green with all the yellow that's on the canvas. Now there, look at that. That's a nice subtle sky, isn't it? How's that? Isn't that lovely? Okay, I'm going to just soften some of this now with my blender brush. Go round in circles very gently. Soften some of that in. Right, there we go. We have the basis of the sky done. We can add little bits later if we wish, can't we? We absolutely can. There are some lovely trees now off in the distance, and I'm going to use the very same brush which I just used. And for that, I'm going to take a touch of burnt umber and a touch of black. And I want to keep it quite dull. I don't want to go too warm with this colour. So let me just add a touch more black in there now. Let me just see if we can get a nice subtle colour for this. And I'm going to start just very gently dabbing little trees. Sorry, now let me just move this very slightly, because there's something at the back of the table knocking against the wall and it's driving me crazy. I know, it's just silly. Right, I'm going to start adding some little trees way off in the distance with this colour, and as it comes further across, I might start taking a touch of burnt sienna. Now when I say a touch, I mean literally the tiniest little touch on the brush, just to warm it, almost like the sunlight is kind of catching the trees and disappearing through the trees. Now a lot of this will disappear into the sky. I'm going to soften a lot of this up into the sky as well, and it's going to disappear. You can see it's almost completely disappeared on this side, isn't it? But you can still see that it's there. Understand? Okay, we can just switch the brush across the bottom like that. We can soften all of this up into the sky here now. Let me just mess around and have a bit of fun, see if we can blend it in slightly. Okay, you see what I mean? Softening it in. I'm just swishing my brush around, kind of up and down. You see? And that's kind of having a nice effect now, isn't it? And I might do the same around here. Very gently softening it back into the sky up there. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? It's almost like you can see way past the trees and it's kind of going on and on and on into the distance. Isn't that gorgeous? I love working with the oils like that because there's so much you can do with them. There now. It's turning out nice already, isn't it? And gently softening here and there into the distance. Now at this point I'm going to just sit back and have a very quick look. Right, I'm going to soften these a little bit more. You could use your blender brush for this if you want, or any soft brush. Just push them up into the sky gently. There, look at that. Very, very nice. And okay, that's okay. I'm pretty good with that. I might take a very small pointy brush. I'll dampen it very gently, and perhaps take some of that darker colour and suggest one or two little tree trunks here and there. Just a suggestion, that's all. Okay, let me have a look at this. Going quite nicely now, isn't it? Now, how are we looking? Isn't that pretty nice? As we come down, it's going to, let me just have a look at this now for a moment. Right, what I might do is suggest some of the light passing through the trees here and there. Some of that sunlight. So what I'll do is I'll take my dry, small, flat brush, right? I'll take some cadmium yellow with white. And I'm going to try and simulate that sunlight kind of coming through the trees there. Will we try it? Come on. So in between the trees, let's just pull it down gently a little bit there. Then clean the brush. And let's go a little bit here. Like so. And we'll put a little bit through this one here. Very gently. Just like that. Now that's not too bad. Okay, we move on now to the bottom here. I just want to get a little bit of that in while it's still nice and wet. So I'm going to make a nice colour. Let's have a look at colours now. I'll take some burnt sienna, some titanium white. Let's take a touch of cadmium yellow in that. I will dampen it very slightly, just a touch. Now let me just have a look at that. I know now it's not the same as the photograph, but it doesn't have to be. I'll take some Naples yellow and I'm going to soften it into that tree line. So you can see then where they both kind of meet. Does that make sense? Now at this point I'm going to switch to some yellows. So let's take some cadmium yellow pale, some Naples yellow, and of course it's going to be much richer on the water. So the colour of the water is going to be much richer than the sky. That's kind of a general rule I find with painting, and especially with painting water. The water will always be darker than what it's reflecting. So if you're reflecting a bright green tree, it's going to look slightly darker in the water because of the depth in the water. So just bear that in mind when painting reflections. It's always going to be darker. I see a lot of paintings, people send paintings to me for my critique, you know, and I see in a lot of paintings where they have water and it's just too light. And I always find in general it's best to paint your water nice and dark. You can always lighten it. I'd always maybe paint my reflections slightly darker than they need to be early on, and then I can add to them as I need. It's just something I've kind of picked up along the way. Now I'm just coming them down there nicely like that, and okay, let's have a look here now and see how we're doing. That's quite nice, very, very nice. I might pull some more of that light through the trees here and there. Okay, just like that, and soften that down then. There, that's a little better now, isn't it? That's much better. So we have some trees up on the right over here. Let's get some of those done. But first of all, we have a little bank. We have a very, very dark bank in silhouette just along there. So I'm going to take some burnt sienna and some burnt umber. I think a touch of black, just a touch, and with that on the brush I'll just dab a little bit of that just along there, bringing it across into the sunlight. Now I think a little darker, more burnt umber, more black, and I'm just using my flat brush now on edge. You see, it's just, you can see the way the brush is, look. It's just it's a flat brush, but it's kind of slightly worn. Do you understand? And I'm just kind of dabbing it along. Dab, 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 dab. And we go up here then kind of into the trees, don't we? Let's paint in this section, nice and dark here. I'll take some black and some burnt sienna, because black and burnt sienna make a lovely rich colour. and it's warm at the same time. Now, I come across here, and we have another bank that kind of comes out like this. I'll leave that for now, but we get nice and dark in here, don't we? Nice and rich and black. Burnt umber and black, just a little of thick paint on your brush, the tip of your brush. And let's go up here and just, first of all, kind of block it in. So I'm just blocking it in for now. Lots of black in this now, lots of rich black. There we go. And then I'll take some black with some cadmium red. That'll give me a nice warm dark colour. Again, keeping it nice and warm, but also it's very dark, isn't it? Now we have the little line of this kind of comes along like this, doesn't it? Something like that. Right, I'm going to go with some really thick dark foliage on this. I'm going to take lots of black and lots of burnt umber. I'm going to start just adding some little dabs of foliage here and there. And you need to be careful with this, because every time you go onto the canvas, you're going to pick up some of that yellow. So it's going to kind of soften, the colour will soften away into that sky colour. So it's a good idea to keep your brush clean, keep wiping your brush after every couple of turns. Now, because it's coming out into the sun here, I'm going to start warming it. I'm going to take some burnt sienna on my brush, and it's going to mix with the colours which are already there. Okay, there we go. Now more burnt sienna, and I might take a touch of cadmium yellow and add that warm colour just around where the sun might be catching the very outsides of those branches. So look, a touch of cadmium yellow as well. Okay, how's that coming on? Now we have a lovely tree coming up in here, don't we? Beautiful tree. Let's try and put that in. And it's nice and dark again. Black and burnt umber. And let's just wiggle a little tree up here. Just a suggestion of a tree trunk. I'll give it a nice dark down at the bottom there. Look at that. And I'll just do that much. Then I'm going to add some nice warm foliage to this. So because it's right in front of the sun, it's going to be nice and warm, isn't it? So let's try burnt sienna with some cadmium yellow first. We'll just try that first. There we go, look at that. And then as it comes around to the dark side, we add some burnt umber, perhaps with a touch of black. Okay, and let's just sit the trunk down into the grass then, look. Now, how's that? That's looking very, very nice now, isn't it? I'll take some black with this little flat brush, and I'll put some nice dark colour just along by the river bank here where it gets really dark, doesn't it? I'm just kind of dabbing it along here and there. And it's making its own sort of shapes. You see, I'm flicking it and it's making its own little interesting shapes. And what I might do then is, I'm just thinking, I might take a palette knife and I'll take some cadmium yellow with a little touch of white, and I might just add them little ripples just along the riverbank there, just to separate that and give it a little reflection also. Now just under the sun, where the sun is, okay, I'm going to just drag a little reflection down to show that. Now that was a bit yellow, I'll take a bit more white. There, you see? I'm kind of softening it down. And it's nice and soft then, on the canvas. Isn't that lovely? So we're having a bit of fun, aren't we? Nice simple tutorial, but it's really kind of dramatic, isn't it? That rich yellow colour is really kind of eye-catching. I love working with colours like this. It's just simple, but it really draws your eye in, doesn't it? Okay, let's have a look now and see how we're getting on. I think we're going pretty well, aren't we? I suppose we could put this section in here now, couldn't we? I better get some more burnt umber on my palette. So let's get some burnt umber there. Lovely rich dark colour. And let's take some burnt umber. I might dampen it just very slightly, just to help kind of break the paint. Do you understand? There we go. It just makes the paint a bit looser. And let's take a little bit of black and let's just fill this in here just very quickly for now. Okay. I'll take some black and a touch of red perhaps, and then just give it a little bump here and there. It's not going to be perfectly straight, so it's going to be going up and down and up and down, see? And I'll take some black and some burnt umber and give it some dark flicks of grass in the dark side in here. And also we can use our fan brush as well for this if you want, if you wish, by all means. Okay, let's grab a fan brush and have an old, let's give that a shot. Now I must get some more black, my black is gone already. So I suppose the principle of this kind of a painting is dark against lights, isn't it? Would you agree? Lots of darks against lots of lights. And it can make for a very eye-catching painting, I think. There now, look, nice and dark. And I'll give it a quick clean. Just dip it in my turpentine, give it a quick wipe on my tissue, and I'll take some of that cadmium yellow with some burnt sienna, and I'll add a touch of light here and there, just on the top of that, where it's just kind of catching the sunlight. Okay, very subtle. I'll take a touch of burnt sienna, add some of that in. So you can see it's just kind of catching a little bit of light here and there, that's all. Nothing major. Okay, now what I might do is, I might try and soften some of that line there, because it's quite soft in the painting, isn't it? Or on the photograph rather. It's lovely and soft. So I'm just going to soften it very gently just along the edge. That's a bit better. There we go. Okay, we have our water along here. Let's get our water in and we can focus on this lovely boat. So the watercolours, let me just clean my brush here now very quickly. Very, very quickly. And I'll get some Naples yellow on my palette. And, by the way, this way on YouTube I'm going to be painting a beautiful scene. It's from Scotland. I completely forget the name of the place now, but it's a lovely castle. I'm going to put the picture on your screen. Now what do you think about that? Isn't that gorgeous? A lovely, rich painting, lots of detail going on there, lots of hills in the distance, some lovely reflections. So that's going to be this week's video on YouTube. So that's a quick preview for you. I haven't started it yet, but I will be starting it in the coming days. Now let's get back to our lovely painting here. Some cadmium yellow, and it's pretty much the same colours throughout the painting, isn't it, from top to bottom. So cadmium yellow, Naples yellow, and I'll take a touch of burnt sienna for this, and let's just bring this across here. Oh, that's a nice rich colour, isn't it? And let's push it in under that riverbank just there. Let's take some more burnt sienna, more cadmium yellow. It starts to get darker, as it goes off over here, doesn't it? Perhaps even a touch of burnt umber rather. I think that would soften the dark a little bit. And let's just soften all of these down nicely together here, all the way along. There's a touch of pink over on this side, so I'm going to add a touch of that cadmium red just in this side here. Now look at this. This is lovely, isn't it? So how about that? I'll just sit back now and have a fast look at this. Okay, I'm going to put some reflections down on this. I'm going to take some burnt sienna and some burnt umber, and I'm going to hold my brush. Now always remember, okay, I get a lot of this when I'm looking at people's paintings. When they paint a reflection, they go the opposite way. So reflections will always come straight down, alright? Unless it's a tree or something like that. So I'm just going to pull this reflection straight down like this, see? Just like that. And then I'll soften it down even more with my blender brush, and then I'll pull across it like this, okay? Very softly. Now what I do at that stage then is take my palette knife with a little bit of that bright colour we had earlier, kind of cadmium yellow with a bit of white perhaps, and I'll just suggest one or two little ripples coming out. That's even a bit bright, I'd say, isn't it? There. And perhaps even continue up here with a couple as well. It's almost like the glisten of that light hitting the water, isn't it? See? I'm hardly even touching the canvas with this now. It's just very barely hitting and missing the canvas. Now I'll just leave it like that for a moment, and I'll just sit back and take a look. I was explaining to people earlier about reflections, you know. So for example, this tree will set a little reflection, won't it? I'll take a little bit of brown and I'll follow that tree just like that, very kind of loosely. You see, just a hint. So what people might do if they're drawing, now let me just get a little paper pad and show you what I mean. I can show you by drawing it, okay? Now let me get a fresh page here, and what I mean about these reflections, so if you're painting, let's just imagine, go here, let's imagine this is the tree line, okay? People will say, let's imagine we have a fence, so let's draw a fence post, okay? Let's colour in that fence post, and I'll put one this way. So now we have 3 fences, don't we? So what people tend to do is they'd follow this line this way when they're doing the reflection. You see? I get that with a lot of beginners as well. But what it should be is this way. So for example, this fence is leaning slightly to the left, then the reflection will go slightly to the left, you see? Doesn't that make sense? And to the right. So that's the mistake some people make. You don't follow this line, you go opposite. From the riverbed, where it meets the water, you go the opposite direction. You see? Does that make sense? It's just a quick one I wanted to explain to you, because I see a lot of people doing that on their paintings. I know it can be a little kind of confusing from time to time, but yes, that's the general rule with painting reflections. Okay, let's get on to this boat here. Come on now, let's get a lovely boat. Let's take some black, a little bit of brown, and I want to paint a lovely a small boat out in the water, and a person fishing on the boat, perhaps. You're just lazing about, having a nice old time. Let me zoom in for you here so you can see a bit better. There now. Isn't that better? So a little dark colour. And we make it nice and straight at the bottom. Okay. Now if the colour fades off slightly, that's fine. It doesn't have to be a solid black colour, you see. And let's put something at the end. You know, little bits and bobs. In fact, there's someone standing on the boat, isn't there? So let's put someone standing, or sitting perhaps even, and he's fixing something. And we'll put another person kind of leaning over this way. So let's imagine he's fixing something down on the boat, or he's getting his fishing rod ready or something. There, how's that? And a little rope coming off of the boat, look, where it's anchored. And a little bit of a string, perhaps from a fishing rod, or whatever the case may be. There. Now let's do a reflection on this. So I'm going to do a very simple reflection following this line here, okay? See? And I'm just going to wiggle it from side to side, very gently. This man here, let's just put a hint of him just leaning over like that. You can see I'm only just using very subtle brush strokes. Just a little hint. It's more of an impression really than anything else, isn't it? And let's reflect this little rope very slightly. There. Okay? So you can see now it's just a very simple reflection. Nothing too complicated whatsoever. And I think that's quite nice, isn't it? Let's see now where we can add little bits of detail. Let's take a bit of brown. I'll take a bit of burnt umber, right, on my brush, and I'm just going to put some grass sticking up here and there in the water. Okay, just a little bit, because it's probably a little on the shallow side here, just around here. Okay, that's fine. And I get a very small pointy brush then. Now can you see that? You can. I get a very small pointy brush and add with some burnt sienna and yellow, add little touches of that colour just here and there. It could be little weeds and stuff popping up, a little bit of light on them. There we go. And I'll do the same up here. Perhaps just a touch of that warm colour. Just here and there. Isn't that lovely? Now just under those reeds on that water, I'm going to just add a little slight ripple here and there. Look. Just to sit them down. See? And it just helps kind of anchor them to the water. Do you understand what I mean? That's all it is. And I might put a tiny little ripple just along the water line, and perhaps the water line of the boat, and one or two by the boat as well. There. And also you could even put something on the tip of the boat, just a hint of light. Look. There. I think that's enough, yes. So now, wasn't that lovely? Let me zoom back now slightly and I'll sign my name to this wonderful painting. And we'll stick a frame on this, shall we? I bet this is going to look stunning in a frame. Okay, S. Conway. Now wasn't that a lovely little study on yellows? Using yellows. So yellow with burnt sienna is a gorgeous colour to use. Do try it. Let me get a frame. I hope this is the right size. I don't think it is, but I'll try it. No, it's too big. But sure, look, we'll rest it there anyway, just to give us an idea of what it looks like. Isn't that lovely? That's absolutely gorgeous, I think. I really enjoyed that. That's nice. I'll make a frame for this now, and I'll stick a new frame on this. So let me zoom in now and show you what we have done. I'll zoom right in nice and close and give you a good look. There we are. So the sun, kind of loose brush strokes, just kind of flicked up into the sky, you see, and then softened in. And very, very loose bushes down in the distance, little trees, just dab, 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 all the way across. So you can see how easy it was. It was just a dabbing with a brush, that's all. A flat brush up on edge. And we have some people on a boat. Isn't that lovely? And there we are. Job done. Wasn't that nice? I hope you enjoyed that now, I really do. Let me know what you think. Oh God, look at this. Jeez, zoom right back. Zoom right back. I'm getting used to the camera. Slowly but surely. Right, there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think. Do try it. It's really fun trying yellows, because it's such a lovely, warm, inviting colour, yellow. It really kind of draws you in. I think that now is a real eye catcher. Could you imagine that now hanging on a wall somewhere, just really kind of catching your eye? You know, fantastic colours. So go on, have a go, try it and see what you think, and put your own twist on it. Maybe put a big tree perhaps coming in on the left. That's what I could have done actually. Maybe a big tree coming in on the left. Some branches maybe coming down from the top. That would be nice also. So, you know, put your own little twist on it. Let me know what you think, and have a bit of fun with it, okay? I'll see you on my YouTube channel in the next few days. I have that lovely painting coming. I really am excited about that. It's going to be on a big MDF board. Lovely, lovely board. So look, thank you very much for all your continued support. I am humbled, I am very, very grateful for all the support you're giving me. It really does help with all the materials and bits and pieces, you know what I mean? It can get expensive. So thank you so much, I really, really appreciate it. And you know, if you have any requests, if you have anything that's troubling you, particular kinds of buildings or trees or reflections or something like that, just send me, just post on the Patreon page, okay? Could you try this, could you try that? I would be delighted. You know, it's the very least I could do for your support, really. I really don't mind. So you won't be annoying me or anything like that. Just please do post it on the page. I would be delighted, okay? So go on, have a bit of fun, and I'll see you on Friday again for a new tutorial. I hope you enjoy, okay? God bless, and thank you all. I'll see you later, guys. Thanks.